If you're making apple pie the day before Thanksgiving, you're already one step ahead of the game. And if you're using a store-bought pie dough, you're also winning in the category called preserving sanity. So let's make a semi-homemade apple pie that tastes fully homemade. This pie crust is actually from Aldi. I prefer this pie crust over the Publix or the Pillsbury brand. I think it's really good quality. It's made with real butter, and it comes on those cute little parchment sheets, which makes it really easy to handle. It doesn't stick to itself. And you'll see I also double up the pie crust. I think that's what makes it different from other pre-made pie doughs. I double it so it has more of a homemade feel. Now, I will not compromise on the apples. Gotta have real apples, not the canned stuff. I do like a mix of apples for a combination of flavors, something like Honeycrisp, Gala, or Fuji, and I like to slice them thick enough to hold the shape, but thin enough to soften when cooked. Think apple wedges, not apple chips. I cut it into quarters first, and then each quarter into 3 to 4 slices. For one pie, I use a 5-pound bag of apples. And if you're feeling scrappy, you can save these apple peels and cores and make applesauce or apple butter. Now, this is gonna seem like a lot, but I put in a whole cup of white sugar and 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. A lot of recipes are a little more intense, but this is the way Grandma always did it, so this is the way I do it. Keep it simple. I toss that so it's fully incorporated and then pour it into my pie crust. I do not cook my filling ahead of time. You want the pie to be full. Pile the apples a little taller than you might think they need to be because it will shrink when it's cooking inside the pie. And then I double the pie crust again and make a lattice top. Now, I put a little sprinkle of water in between the two pie crusts, and that helps them stick together. It's not as hard as you think to make a lattice top. I'm going to show you step by step, and it ends up looking super fancy. And again, it's only store-bought pie crust. It's so easy. I use my pizza cutter to actually cut the dough into strips. I find this is pretty easy to work with. It's not a pastry cutter, but it works just as good. You try to make them as even as possible, and I like them a little on the thick side. I'd say it's about 3/4 inch. And then I start with a strip in the center and go outside of that. Once I get all the strips across lengthwise, I fold over every other strip and put the strips in the opposite direction. This makes a perfect lattice top, and you don't have to move it. I think this is the easiest method. And then I just trim the edges off with a knife. And then I use my fingers to crimp the edge. Now, if you're a little inexperienced at this, it does take practice. But basically, your ruffled edge ends up being 1 finger width, whatever finger you choose to use. Keep using the same one around the entire pie, and 1 up and 1 down. So 1 finger up and 1 finger down. And you just kind of press it into your shape, and you end up with a beautiful ruffled edge. And now your pie is ready to bake. I like to always put my pies on a sheet tray just in case it bubbles over and spills in the oven. And if you choose to, you can also do a little egg wash on top for that extra glossy look. Happy Thanksgiving!